Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on Gran Turismo 7. We're back with some highlights from some daily race Bs from 2 different weeks, which had some absolutely brilliant racing in. So we're going to start off with Sardegnacy, quite a short track, an unusual layout, fairly difficult to overtake. There is a couple of positions you can do it, but let's get this underway. We're starting from P2. Let's see if we can challenge P1 for this win in this daily race B, sorry. So going into turn 1, making sure we're driving nice and safe, and
fatality.
A little bit of chaos there behind us. Not quite sure what happened there, but one driver is sent off into the barrier there as we continue on behind Grubby here now. And we're going to try and put him under some pressure because this combination, like I say, it's a very short layout. There's not a massive amount of overtaking opportunities. With the current turbulent air on this game, it is pretty tricky to follow even in Group 3. So I do have some updates with regards to that also as well. With regards to I've spoke to someone and they are aware of it and the info has been passed on. So that is some pretty good news. Hopefully over the next few months we might start seeing some improvements in the ability to follow in certain cars. So yeah, that's some good news. But yeah, we're going to try and follow now P1 into turn 1. This is an opportunity for an overtake, but you can see I'm too far back here. We're 7 tenths back, but we take quite a tight line there. Early upshift to second gear just to try and get into that slipstream, and you can see we've actually gained quite a few tenths there. We've gone from 7 tenths to 4 tenths behind him, but now we've got to try and follow as closely as possible through these sections here with the little bump on the road there. Pretty difficult to make sure your car doesn't swing out to the left, and then into this very tricky, this is probably the trickiest right hand corner that on this track. I find that corner very difficult to get it perfect, so you lost a bit of time there, back down to nearly 7 tenths back. Then into this final section here where it's all about being smooth and just watching the rear of the car will not slide out. Now we're racing on racing hard tyres here, so more likely that the car's going to step out of you when you're on the brakes and going into a corner like that. So we're going to skip ahead a little bit further ahead here as we were driving around 7 tenths, 8 tenths behind him for quite some time there. And now we're about 7 tenths at the start of this lap. We go over the line with the fastest lap of the race. Not a particularly great lap. We are losing a bit of time in this turbulent air. I think we were doing 51s when we weren't in the turbulent air. But you can see, trying to take that tight line there and just trying to get on the power as early as we can, just so we can pick up that slipstream and just get us close enough for an opportunity to go for an overtake. It's pretty difficult to do at this track. If the car in front doesn't make any mistakes, it's very difficult to get close. You can see that bump on that corner as well there as we watch the amazing replay cameras on Gran Turismo 7. You can really see how that was a little bit of a tricky location for that bump. You could really send that car off to the left-hand side. So we're going into that final sector now. This is where it's very tricky on the brakes, into that final corner. An overtaking opportunity in that final corner is possible, but you have to be really, really close to the car in front. At the moment, we're not close enough there. You can see we're picking up that slipstream down the straight, and we're looking a little bit closer into turn 1 at this point here. You can see under 4 tenths, getting down to 3 tenths. We're going to have a little bit of a look to go wide on this line, see if we can try and change the lines up and get better exit speed so that we can pick up that slipstream a little bit stronger. And you can see we've actually got a little bit better slipstream now. We're going to try and stay with him now all the way through this sector, and this is where it's going to get incredibly difficult trying to follow when you're this close behind someone through these corners, especially this right hand corner here where it's quite a high speed corner, trying to skim that curb onto the power, using the curb on the left and just making sure you don't run too far wide. Now we've managed to stay a little bit closer this time, and now we're coming into that final sector here, just trying to keep it nice and smooth. You can see how I'm riding the brake and the accelerator at the same time there. That is to help the stability of the car. We're doing that on purpose. Keeps the car a little bit more stable and just enables you to keep that momentum through the corner and try and get that exit speed. So now we're in that slipstream. We're going to have a little look up the inside here just to try and off-put him a little bit. We're not going to send it from that far back. Just trying to make sure he knows that we're there. And we get on the brakes incredibly late. And we're really, really close out of the exit, trying to get on the power. Can we find the way past on this lap 7? We're going to try and put him under pressure. That's all we can really do at this point with this part of the track. It's completely flat out. Can't really go for an overtake anywhere here. Not even into this right-hand corner up here. It'd be too risky. There'd be likely a crash if you sent one there. And yeah, we're just trying to stay close, put him under pressure. And the closer we get, the more mistakes he seems to be making in this race. But you can see now under 2 tenths behind him, if we can manage to get a good exit, but you can see once we get that close to him, that turbulent air just really does affect the car a little bit too much. Now I have managed to stay within 4 tenths of him. Can we pick the slipstream up on this straight? and go for a lunge maybe into turn 1. It looks like we're going to be a little bit too far back to go for a dive here, but can we just put him under pressure? Having a look up the inside, just letting him know we're there. We're going to go back to the left hand side of the track and then cut back onto the apex and try and get a strong exit from here. So again, he runs a little bit wide there. Looks like the pressure slightly building up there as we're putting him under that constant pressure here. We're watching the replay camera again. So you can see how close it is. You can see the tighter lines that we're taking through the corners just to try and try and avoid some of that dirty air through the corner. So again, trying to take that tight line. Now we're incredibly close here for the final corner. Can we find the way past him? We're going to take a wide line here to try and cut back a bit through this corner. Now we've got him on the wrong foot. We can go down the left-hand side, sending it a bit deeper and try and go round the outside. Can we make it work round the outside? And we managed to get that move done around the outside. What a great bit of racing. Respect to Grubby there for the respect in the corner as well. A lot of drivers would have just pushed you wide. He kept it clean, and that was some brilliant racing there. And we take the win. And what an enjoyable race that was. I hope you enjoyed that one. Let's move on to race 2 now at Spa. So now we're going in Group 4, sorry, at Spa, and it's going to be a Nissan GTR race. Remember, hit that like button and subscribe if you are enjoying this video. It really does help push the channel. So yeah, next up, Spa, Group 4, a track that is quite slipstream based in Group 4. You can definitely do some overtaking here. The dirty air is not going to affect these cars anywhere near as much as Group 3. Now, one big problem with this track and combination still to this day, after how many years, is the rolling start. Now, I don't know how many times they need to be told about this. It is getting quite annoying, I have to say. In my opinion, for Daily Race B, short race, 4 laps, no matter what the car class is, just put it as a standing start, PD. You even created a 24-hour layout, which they could have used, which would have got rid of the issue that we have here, but they didn't use it. I really don't understand some of the logic that goes into their decisions sometimes. But yeah, that's for another day. Let's get on with this race. As we're following, again, starting in P2, and we're going to try and challenge for the win in this race in the Nissan GTR. Now, we're both in that Nissan GTR. A great combination. I do like Spa in Group 4. I just wish that we could maybe start BOP in this Nissan GTR a little bit. It is going to dominate pretty much any track in Group 4 that has a long straight. So again, next week we have Bathurst in Group 4 as Daily Race B, and probably what's going to happen again is the Nissan GTR is going to be the strong car. So let's just hope there's a BOP in the next update. We have got an update coming at the end of this month, so you never know, we could have a BOP that's going to take some power off these 4-wheel drive cars like the Nissan GTR. It needs something doing to it just to make some other cars viable really for Daily Race B. Otherwise, every Daily Race B is either going to be in the Alpha or the Nissan GTR. But as we come through here, you can see P1 makes a little bit of a mistake there on the long, fast left-hand corner, and that gives us the ability to get right back up behind him. And now we can start challenging for the lead in this Daily Race B. So very close through here, just trying to get the rhythm. Now, I actually don't mind driving this Nissan GTR. It's quite fun to drive once you get used to how to drive it and the braking and the downshifting. Try and brake and then downshift later into the corners with this car. It actually rotates quite nice, and I actually quite enjoy driving it. However, that's not to say I don't want it being BOP. 100% needs a BOP and fixing to make more cars viable. Now, one thing on this I noticed was that the Nissan GTR slipstream off of another Nissan GTR was actually quite low. If you keep an eye on the time that we gain on the straights, it's actually not that much. We gain about a 1/10. I have noticed that with some of, like, normally with the power car, so example Group 3 and the Supra, 2 Supras slipstream each other don't actually gain a massive amount. It's probably because they've both got so much power that there's not much slipstream to actually gain from them. So yeah, that is probably showing you just how strong these cars are, that the slipstream isn't having a huge effect on these cars. So it's probably actually more realistic, the slipstream like this. But as we come through turn 1, P1 makes a little bit of a mistake there, and I have to get out the throttle. You can see, kind of ruin my chance of an overtake here, because he runs deep into the corner. We then can't get on the throttle early enough and get that slipstream all the way down the straight now and go for a move at the end of the straight. So you can see we're 5/10 back, and we're not going to gain half a second back. We're not going to gain that time on this straight. So a bit frustrating, but we couldn't have just kept our foot in it, because if we would have done that, we would have pushed him off the track and probably spun him. So we had to back out of that, and now we're going to have to just follow again and go again to try and find a way past him. So again, into the braking zone for this sector here, trying to use the curbs. Make sure you're using the curbs on Spa. I love this track, one of my favourite tracks. Once you get in the rhythm at this track, it just flows so nicely. I find that when you put a bit of practice in for this track, you end up just flowing from curb to curb and using that full width, and it's just such an enjoyable experience. I absolutely love driving at Spa. Definitely one of my favourite tracks to drive at. I think the flow is just untouchable compared to some other tracks. You can see very close now to P1. We're 2 tenths behind. Can we have a little look up here? We're going to get in that slipstream. You can see we're only gaining tiny amounts, so we're having a look just to try and off-put him and just try and maybe affect his driving into the next corner, just see if we put him off a little bit. But you can see he actually does that pretty nicely there. And now we're just going to follow through as we watch that replay camera, looking at this close battling going on. And again, Gran Turismo 7 looking absolutely stunning as usual. Could look better though if we had dynamic weather in some of these races. PD, yeah, that's for another day as well. But you can see, watching behind here now, trying to just take the lines to try and unsettle him a bit. You can see, trying to make sure he can see our front end in that mirror, just to try and put him under some pressure and seeing if it'll make him make a mistake here or there. You can see picking up the slipstream now. Again, this is where we're going to pick up a massive amount of slip all the way on this straight now, and then maybe go for a move into the braking zone. You can see we're very, very close, but we're coming up to that really fast left-hand corner, and when you're in the slip this close, you do get a little bit of wash-off, even in Group 4. You can see there, a little bit of wash-off, had to lift through the corner a bit, and we're going to be a bit too far back to go for a lunge up the inside here. So again, just taking the normal braking line and seeing if we can get a good exit off this corner. Again, downshift to second, back up to second gear, and power on the exit there. You can see he gets a very good exit there. We had to kind of get out. We were a bit too close, if anything, there. It would have been better if we were a bit further back so we could just take the optimal line and get on that power a little bit earlier. But yeah, into turn 1 now. Can we get that braking point done properly this time without any mistakes? And much better that time. And now we've actually got quite a nice slipstream. You can see we're gaining. We're going to actually be in a position to possibly go for a move on this lap. Can we get this done? Picking up the slipstream now, down the hill, and then on the up part of the hill now, as we go uphill, this is where you can see the slipstream really working. As soon as you get on the uphill section, that's where the slip really takes a big effect on these cars. And you can see we've got the slipstream going to the left. Can we go for the move into the chicane at the end of this straight? It's going to be very, very close. We're side by side. We're actually ahead now. We're nearly a whole car's length ahead. We brake pretty much at the maximum. He brakes a bit too late. Goes in very deep. We had to back out of it. We gave him the space, and then we're side by side through here, and we managed to get back in the lead. However, we took a tight line in there. In four-wheel drive, when you take a tight line, you're compromised on the exit, and he's going to go back up the inside again. And again, we brake very late, but he brakes a bit too late, and he gives us a little bit of a shunt there, braking a little bit tad too late. But again, I think it's acceptable in Group 4. You're always going to have this kind of race and a little bit of contact here and there. So fair play. Got himself back into P1, and now we're going to have to try and do that move again. Some great driving going on there. And again, that's why we all love playing Gran Turismo 7. It's a game that provides this kind of racing, especially in Group 4. And one of the reasons why is because that turbulent air is not as strong. This is what we want to see in Group 3 as well. In Group 2, we want to see this kind of racing going on. So PD, I know that I've already mentioned it, and if you are listening, let's get this slipstream sorted so we can follow people and actually battle with people and overtake people, because at the moment, in Group 3 and Group 2, pretty much impossible. But yeah, we're going to follow now behind P1 and try and see if we can get this slipstream now and go for the move again. We're close enough this time. We're actually a little bit closer this time. You can see it on the delta. We were 4 tenths at this point. We're now under that. Can we pick up that slipstream and get the perfect run to go for a move? So on the uphill section again, this is where we're going to gain. We've definitely got a nice bit of slip here. Can we go for the move into that chicane again at the end of the straight? So picking up slipstream, he's going to go to the right hand side of the track again. We're going to pick up that slipstream and go to the left hand side. Now we're going to fake it, and then he does actually block it off a little bit there. Double defends. That was a little bit naughty, as we're going to try and go around the outside this time. He does give us a space, and we're going to go side by side, and we managed to make that move around the outside and put ourselves up into P1. There was a little bit of a double defend, but I don't know if he kind of might have been just a reaction that he did there. But we are up into P1, and we've managed to get that lead to half a second. So now we've got to try and push now all the way to the finish and try and hold on to this for the remaining few corners. Can we manage to do it? Onto this straight now, and then into this fast left-hand corner. This is a corner where he's going to get a little bit affected following us, possibly. Even in Group 4, you do get a little bit of an affected loss of grip through there, but it's nothing too bad. And now on the power in the 4th gear, all the way into the right corner up ahead. This is actually looking like going to be a very, very close finish. You can see he's within 2 tenths. He's going to have the slipstream on the back straight, so we're going to have to make sure we make no mistakes through here. Just clipping the apex onto that throttle, use some of the curve on the exit, and then into this next right hand corner. This is an important corner because we've got to get the exit, so we miss the apex ever so slightly there. That's going to compromise our exit speed ever so slightly again, and then just trying to get close to the curb, do that reasonably well. And now onto the power. You can see we've got a 3/10 gap to P2. He's going to pick up that slipstream on this straight as we work our way down here and then through the left hand corner. Can we manage to get the car into the braking point in the lead? That's the main thing. We've got to hold the inside line, so taking the inside line, we're going to stick to the right hand side of the track now and then get it back into the middle part for the corner. He's going to try and go for a lot. He brakes way too late round the outside. That was never going to make it, and he's just completely messed up. And then as he does that, he tries to cut the corner and he gets reset to track. Yeah, he braked way too late. I saw it in the mirror. We braked on the absolute limit pretty much, and he braked way beyond that, so he was never going to make that corner. Unfortunately for us, we take the win again. So 2 very enjoyable races here on Daily Race Bs. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Get subscribed to the channel, hit that like button, and let me know in the comments if you enjoyed them races. See you all soon, everyone.